Hello, icons and future icons. I'm Shon Kokoszka, founder of Icon Coaching. And today, guys, I've got a panel of experts as it relates to how to build a team. Now, gang, we coach individuals every day here at Icon Coaching on how to create leverage within their business model. See, the smart people are the ones who are going to apply their time, in fact, give an inordinate amount of their time to the 20% work versus the 80% work. See, the only thing that's going to lift you beyond your natural ceiling of achievement, all right, let's face it, we all have one, don't we? I mean, Policino, you've got a natural ceiling of achievement, right?
I bump up against it all the time, so I have no
David
hair.
Torgerson, you've got a natural ceiling of achievement, isn't that true?
I do.
And
like Shon, I bump into it all the time.
And here's what happens though. Once you hit that natural ceiling of achievement, and for most agents, that's going to be between 30 and maybe on the outside 50 transactions per year. The only thing that's going to bring you beyond that natural ceiling of achievement to that next level of success, guys, it's leverage. So there's 4 categories of leverage. We're going to touch on several of them today. The first is models. Second is systems. Next, it's technology. And then finally, it's people. And that's the phase we're really going to focus in on. Plus, we've invited Randy from Chime, who's going to talk to us a little bit about leveraging technology in team building to make certain that you can inspect what you expect. Okay. So we got a wonderful panel here. And by the way, if you're at that position where you're just as busy as you can be, it's time to apply leverage. I want you to tune in to what these fantastic people have to say today, because we're going to take you from where you're at today to where you want to be in the future. And I want to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves in no particular order. First, we're going to start with you, David Torgerson. Tell us where you're from. Tell us a little bit about your team. Yet keep it under 1 minute for me. Go.
Yep, done deal. So David Torgerson, I'm in Helena, Montana. I have a team of 8 people, 1 admin, and I'm in the process right now of actually dividing my role up and kind of like taking a different role. It's pretty exciting. So we did about 32 million last year, and we're on track to do just about the same this year.
All right, on, man. You're just chugging right along, making that money. I love it. Sean Policino, let's go to you, buddy.
I'm in Los Angeles. I have a small team. We're trying to cut up Los Angeles into regions. So we've got one amongst myself in the San Fernando Valley region. We've got 1 in San Francisco, 1 in Huntington Beach, and 1 in Texas. These are actual team members. And myself, I'll do about 40 transactions this year, and the team will probably, our goal is 75.
Fantastic, Sean. Way to go, man. Todd Watkins.
Hey, Sean, thanks for having me on. So Todd Watkins, I'm over here in Little Kennewick, Washington, over in southeastern Washington State. Constantly trying to grow team and help other agents really live the full lives that they deserve. I know for me, I struggled my first 4 or 5 years trying to figure out this magic sauce, if you will, to selling real estate. And really, that's the goal, is to help as many people as I can. And I've got a team of just right under 50 across the country, and I work with 5 people here locally in my team. And I'm happy to share my what not to do's for sure.
Good. Well, Todd, I'm glad you brought that up. See, the smart person, they learn from their own mistakes, right?
Yes.
Now, the stupid person keeps making the same mistake over and over and over, right? As Randy Bear said, he said, when you make a mistake, there's only 3 things you should do. Number 1, own it. Admit it, right? Hey, I made a mistake. Second, learn from it. And third, never repeat it, right? See, this requires a new mindset. Many realtors are just into fix this, fix that, fix the other thing, right? It's not about fix, fix, fix. It's about fix, prevent, right? So we're going to share with you. So, I mean, we're going to open the Komodo, right, guys? I mean, seriously, here's what not to do. Here's what you should do. And here's the lessons we learned along the way. Now, the smarter person, by the way, well, they're going to learn from the mistakes of others. So I'm so glad you're here. And the extraordinary people, the smartest people of all, well, they study the successes of those that have gone before them. That's why I've assembled this panel, guys. These are people that are out there doing what you're trying to do, and they're going to show you how to do it right. And certainly last and not least, Randy, introduce yourself, buddy.
Yes, sir. My name is Randy Carroll. I'm just realizing everyone else does your last name, so I might as well. I am the strategic partner and channel sales manager here at Chime Technologies. I had the lovely opportunity to work with brilliant coaches like Sean and the others here to talk about how we can help leverage your business from a technology standpoint. I mean, that was one of the 4 versions of leverage that Sean mentioned. while I may not be practicing real estate, my significant other, my fiance, is actually. So you'll never find a bigger believer in Chime than me, because I watch it work in her business every single day. So very excited, very happy to be here, and hopefully can bring some value and have something to offer.
Well, my thanks to each and every one of you for being here to just add value to our participants today. And of course, guys, if you have to leave early, I mean, like let's say you have a surgery that's planned and scheduled and you have to leave early, that's okay, because we're going to send out the replay link for everybody today. That question always comes up in chat, so I like to address that early, no doubt about that. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my screen here real quick, and then we're going to quiz our panelists today on some of the content that we choose to share with you. Panelists, give me a thumbs up if you can see I to we today. Thank you, thank you. All right, so really 3 phases of business development, right? We all start off in the I do it phase. I'm a solo practitioner doing everything on my own, everything from lead generation, lead follow-up, going on appointments, negotiating contracts, of course, inspection negotiations, due diligence, title, mortgage, you name it, you're doing it, right? Now, in order to get to that next level of production, as I said, once you hit that natural ceiling of achievement, we've got to apply leverage through people. So we're going to step into the we do it phase, where you're doing it together and you're leveraging off a lot of that 80% work to focus on the 20% work to ultimately step over that line to the they do it phase. Now, that's a totally different way of thinking. It's a totally different style of leverage. And yet that's my intention today, to show you how to get to the they do it phase so you can truly derive your income through the production of others. See, smart people in business, they apply leverage to their business models. People who achieve an average or below average level of income in this industry, well, they get leverage. Do you understand? So either apply leverage or get leverage. The choice is yours. And we're going to show you the how to apply leverage today. So Todd Watkins, I'm going to go to you, buddy. Do you remember back in the day when you were in the I do it phase?
Oh yeah.
Tell me what you loved about that.
The commission checks, but that would be about it.
And Todd, I love your laugh, man. It's contagious. Good stuff. So the commission checks, that's about it. Because you're a jack of all trades, master of none, right? You're doing every aspect of the transaction. And at that point in your life, what was your production level? I mean, how many transactions were you closing per month in the I do it phase?
Well, early on, I 1 or 2 a month, something along those lines, if lucky. I mean, I still was trying to figure out the process, and really for me, it wasn't until I had fully embraced implementing a CRM that put me into the production, where it catapulted me into selling 3 to 5 homes consistently every month.
So it's leveraged through technology. I'm going to come back to you, Todd, but I want to ask everybody the same question. David, when did you realize, or let's talk about the I do it phase. What was that like for you?
It was terrible. I had no accountability. The best way to describe it, and I describe it like this all the time, is feral. I was basically feral. Like I just read over here and I would do that, and I would read over there and I would do that, and I would do this and I would do that. And at the end of the day, I'd look at my results, and most days I had none. I had no results. Sometimes I would have a closing, and I remember that. When I had a closing, it was like a big deal. Like, I got a closing, because I hadn't had one for like 2 months. So yeah, it sucked.
It sucked. How about you, Shon? Talk to us about your experience in the I do it phase.
Yeah, for me, I sold 36 homes my first year, so I got thrown right into it, and that was me doing it. I read a book early on called The E-Myth. I can't remember who
It's Michael Gerber is the author. Great.
Yeah,
book.
so
Changed my life, actually.
Yeah, we all have the technician, the manager, and the entrepreneur, and I've always wanted to be that entrepreneur. So for me, the next progression was to build a team where I am still doing it, leading by example, but there's people alongside me that are doing it as well.
Fantastic. Okay, next question for you guys. Todd, we're going to come back to you, buddy. What was the catalyst of change? I mean, when did you come to the realization that for you to increase your production exponentially, that it would require leverage through people?
I just got tired of struggling. Really, just sick and tired of being tired. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Hey, it's all good, buddy. We're all working from.
I brought a little guest with this. So it was really just, just got tired of struggling and not being able to live a life or to do anything. obviously this is one of the many reasons why I wanted to be able to be at home and play with my family and do different things and be what I feel is my most important calling in life is being the DAD, being a dad to my kids.
Thank you for that, Todd. I think that's obviously important. I think you would all agree with that. And if you want to spend more time with loved ones, the only thing that's going to allow you to do that, if you want to maintain a high level of production, well, it's leverage, right? David, what was your catalyst? When did you realize you need to start a team?
I can't actually point to exactly what the catalyst was. Looking back on it, I guess I would say that I was just frustrated with the amount of time that I was spending, just running around like doing paperwork and doing all the mundane things that frankly I suck at. Like I'm terrible at paperwork. I don't like it. It gives me anxiety, it makes me feel icky. So yeah, that's when and it actually was a training that you developed that was like the big aha for me, like, oh yeah, like I could totally do that and have like better life.
I'm so glad you attended that training, by the way. Thank you for doing that, David, because it has a
You're welcome.
profound impact on your trajectory. Shon, how about you? Was there a moment that you can remember that you said, man, I've got to apply some leverage to my model?
Yeah, it was probably, it was actually in my 7th year. I was with Keller Williams for 16 years. 7th year was actually when I hired you as my business coach. And it was when I first cracked open the millionaire real estate agent model and looked at what leverage could bring to my family. It was a no-brainer at that point.
All right, Shon, great value, you guys. Okay, now ultimately to get to the they do it phase, that's what we're going to be talking about today, to where you can truly step out of production, play the CEO role of your business. See, until you get to the they do it phase, guys, you don't own a business, not in real estate sales. You own a job with a lot of headache, a lot of responsibility, and everything else. However, when you've leveraged your models, systems, technology, and people appropriately, you'll derive your income based on their production. You can step out and be a true leader at that point of your team. There's no doubt about that. So let's kind of jump into the methodology of icon coaching here. And it starts with a process called the ETA. Now that stands for expectation, targets, and actions. Now the expectation is merely a better word for the word goal, in my humble opinion. See, I believe words create energy and emotion, right? And when I personally set a goal, man, it feels heavy to me. And it almost creates uncertainty rather than certainty. I think, boy, it's a goal that's heavy. I might not be able to accomplish that. And since words create energy and emotion, as we just agreed, the word expectation changes my mindset dramatically. I just expect it to happen. And I trust that resonates with all of you. Then the targets are interim expectations that are measurable, yet they're not grounded in a singular activity or action. Many things must happen for a target to be accomplished. And then the actions are singular activities that you or somebody else can do on your team, or maybe it's a vendor, maybe it's an outsourced partner. Like Chime would be a great example, where it might be an action of something that you choose to implement, yet you're going to have somebody else do the heavy lifting with you and for you. They've already developed the technology, they know how to do it, so let them do their job. Now, leverage does require a different kind of mindset, and it's 3 powerful words. In fact, everybody just get your pen ready, write this down. Who, not you. Who, not you. In essence, who can do that for you? It's also who, not how, right, David? See, anytime I think of doing something new, unique, different at Icon Coaching, guys, I have to be honest with myself and just admit that I am probably proficient at 20% of the tactical work associated with that role. Now, I can invest the time, the energy, the money, the resources to master the other 80%, yet Malcolm Gladwell will tell you it takes 10,000 hours to master anything. Or I could identify the who's already invested the 10,000 hours, who understands the how at a deep and core level, and just develop a compensation model that's mutually beneficial to get them to do the work. See, in the United States today, we already live a highly leveraged life. Would you all agree with that? Like, for example, Todd Watkins, are you wearing shoes right now?
Currently, no. I've got my Zoom attire on.
I asked Todd that question because I wanted to hear his laugh again. Yet, so Todd, you own a pair of shoes?
I do, several pairs.
Did you make those shoes?
Oh, no.
Oh, of course not. No, you leveraged through somebody else who makes shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the watch on your wrist. Did you make that watch?
No
Of
way.
course not. So guys, it's just a matter of applying that type of thinking to your business development, your business growth. And when you do, you'll be able to scale rapidly. And I've helped thousands, if not tens of thousands of agents build highly profitable, successful teams in the industry. Now, by the way, if you're building a team and it's not profitable, you're doing it wrong. And I want you to stay here. I want you to pay attention the entire time. Okay, seriously, I want you to take great notes as we go through this. So the ETA, and this is how we start with our building of a business. Now, here's ultimately what the formula looks like. It's really simple. You have one expectation for the year. Now, I would encourage you to narrow that down to the number of closed units you would like. So for 2021, I want to close 100 units, just using a round number because I love round numbers and hate math. Okay, so that's my expectation. I'm going to close 100 units. I could put in some sub expectations. For example, if I close 100 units, my average sales price is 500,000. Do the math. What's my total sales volume? What's my total GCI? And I might want to speculate and say I want this much net income, right? And these are all bullet points or benchmarks associated with my expectation. Now, based on the expectation of 100 closed units, target number one, since listings are leverage, would be how many of those 100 units are going to be sold listings. So in my case, I would want to be listing heavy. Target one would be close 60 listings. Now remember, many things must happen for a target to be accomplished. So what are the specific actions you're going to take to close 60 listings? In fact, I want to turn it over to the group. Shon Kokoszka, tell me what's one thing that you're doing currently that you're finding traction in to close listing side business?
Making sure that I'm lead generating in sellers so that I have a certain amount of seller appointments. Because if I don't have enough appointments, I'm not going to get to that 60 closings.
I love it. Okay, Shon, great. So that would be action number one, right? And by who and by when? And you see the right margin there, guys. You'll have a by who because that's the leverage question. Who can do that for you? It's who, not you. And by when will that be accomplished? That might be a daily task, might be a weekly task, could be a monthly task, quarterly task, or just a one-time action that once installed. Like, for example, maybe you're sitting there saying, you know what? I really don't have my CRM tool mastered. Perhaps I should investigate another CRM platform like Chime is a great example. And maybe action number two would be to engage in the online seller lead generation that Chime enables agents to do. They're going to take your digital ad spend budget for you, and they're going to manage that for you, placing your Google ads, your Facebook, Instagram ads, and they're going to attract seller leads for you. In fact, Randy Carroll, I'm going to turn it over to you here, buddy. And I want you to talk about an action an agent can take to close 60 listings.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So you got to figure out your math, like your specific math. If you're going to close 60 listings, how many appointments do you need to go on? Right. Do you win half your appointments? Right. So you need 10 appointments per month to win 5 listings per month to get to 60 listings closed at the end of the year. Right. Now, what is your conversion percentage from lead to appointment? Do you convert 5, 6%, 10% of leads to appointment, right? Then we take that number, let's say, again, for easy math, let's say you convert 10% of leads to appointments. So you need 120 leads to get 12 appointments. 100 leads, 10 appointments, 5 listings, right? So now you talk to Chime, we figure out a good listing lead generation strategy for your market, right? Every market's a little bit different. We have a DMA team that's going to work with you. We have artificial intelligence that's going to help you with those conversion numbers. We're going to include some automation that's going to help you work those leads. 100 leads a month is a lot. So if you don't have leverage, you're dead in the water, right? So that's where having a powerful CRM that is more than just a CRM will get you to those numbers. Did all those numbers make sense? Was I doing the math right?
Well, I think we could do it together right now, but I think people get the premise, right? If you know what your lead acquisition cost is, you know what your conversion rate is, you'll know how many leads you need in order to convert to this many appointments. And how many appointments do you need to go on to get a signed listing contract? And when you understand the numbers in your business, well, then you can, okay, now my lead acquisition cost is $5 per lead. How much money do I really need to spend? This is when the business gets simple, you understand. So I
Absolutely.
need this many leads to have this many appointments. This many appointments leads to this many listing contracts. That all that means is I need to spend this much money and allocate this much time for lead follow-up and conversion.
Mhm.
It's really that simple, guys. When when your business is based on numbers, it becomes predictable. It becomes easy.
Yes.
And you
You
guys
have to be able to track these numbers. You have to know your numbers, because if you're trying to determine this by gut feeling, like these are going to be short-term emotions that drive long-term decisions, and that's only going to lead to failure, right? How am I feeling today? Well, I feel I can convert everyone. How do I feel tomorrow? I feel like I can't convert anything. But when you have these hard numbers, they don't lie to you.
I love that quote. Yes, numbers don't lie, gang. No doubt about that. So tell us specifically through the Chime platform and you managing my digital ad spend budget.
Mhm.
How does that work within the Chime platform?
Yeah, so it's actually really quite simple. We have within our platform, you can navigate to your campaigns tab. You'd be able to select what type of lead generation you're looking for, buyers, sellers in this instance. You'd be able to set up the campaign. You'll be in contact, or one of our DMAs will be in contact with you. And one of the beauties of Chime's digital advertising is our transparency. You're going to be able to see how much you've spent, what the impression cost per impression, per click, per lead, all of this. You'll have all of this information at your disposal, as well as the copy of the actual ads, right? So if you wanted to change what the ad says, there's a feedback tool within the platform where you just type up what you want changed, and our team gets it done within the day, right? So very, very simple. These don't need to be overly complicated. And the reason why Chime clients are converting at a higher percentage than non-Chime clients is because we're the only company in the entire industry, and I can say this with 100% confidence, that has a Google machine learning based AI assistant that helps our clients convert these leads into appointments, right? So with other systems, the burden of follow-up relies either on you entirely or with some probably outdated written drip campaigns, right? Like if you don't update a drip campaign, it will never change.
That's right.
With our AI assistant, because it's based off of machine learning, that's the super crucial term here. And if you don't know what machine learning means, after the webinar, Google it. But what it means is with every single conversation our AI assistant has with one of your sellers, it's going to improve and get better, right? So today it's better than it was yesterday, and tomorrow it will be better than it is today. And it's
Right.
going to lead to higher conversions, more conversations lead to conversions, right? And you'll have more conversations through Chime, our digital marketing, and our artificial intelligence than you would otherwise on your own.
Way to go, Randy. Now, I want you to kind of rewind just a little bit for me. I want you to describe it as though we're in the third grade. Okay, so you got a bunch of third graders sitting here in front of you.
Sure.
How does it work? And let's get down to the nitty gritty. I mean, you're advertising a home evaluation, correct?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, so somebody clicks, I want to know my home's value. They put in their property address, they hit submit, then it brings them to a squeeze page. Is that right?
That's correct.
And so it requests their first and last name, their email address, their phone number. Now, many of the people are going to bounce from that saying, oh, that feels a little too close to me. I don't want to give them my contact information, and they might bounce. Isn't that right, Randy?
Yeah, that's totally fair. That could happen.
Yep. However, you've captured the most important piece of content, which is the
Yes.
property address. Yes?
Yes.
I don't think somebody's just going to go on and request a home valuation if they're not contemplating selling their house. Now, NAR will tell you that 1 in 6 homeowners is contemplating right now selling their house. They might not do it today. They might not do it in 6 months, but they're thinking about it right now. So you're going to capture that person's home address, and then you just skip trace to get the contact information. One of the most powerful tools I would recommend for you is remine.com. Remine.com is a great source. In fact, they're tied in with many MLSs across North America, so you can get the contact information for whoever owns that particular property and then follow up with them. No doubt about it. All right.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So,
Great stuff, Randy.
Remind, great service for that. Chime has some options for you as well. And then we also have the ability to send out physical mail in the event you wanted to start, farming these no name, email, phone number addresses.
I love that, Randy. That is perfect. So we're talking not only about one action on your ETA, if you wanted to leverage through a platform like Chime, where you're going to do online lead generation for people requesting valuations. And you're going to put a number in each of these actions, meaning I want at least 100 people requesting home valuations per month. And then action number 3 might be to engage in a direct mail campaign with anybody who's put in their property address there. So what we're doing is we're identifying actions to help you build a rock solid business plan, guys. Now, this business plan format is 1 page. It's simple, right? Now, we're not taking this business plan to a business bank to get a business loan. You understand? See, many of the clients that come to Icon Coaching, if they have a business plan, they'll send it over to me or send it to me electronically. Most of them are in excess of 15 pages, guys. Seriously, your business, if it's 15 pages, your focus is far too diluted. You're doing it wrong. More than a 1-page business plan, you are stressed to the max. See, so many times it's not that we have too many things to do, it's that we choose to do too many things. Wouldn't you all agree with that?
Absolutely.
3 to 5 actions under each target. Let's master those first. Target number 2, how many of those will be buyer side transactions? In this case, it would be 40. So before I go into the buyers, Todd Watkins, tell me, what are you doing right now to get traction on the listing side of the business with this low inventory market?
I'll tell you, one of them is just leveraging the listings I've got with call capture things, or through the sign calls, right there with that. So, and then hosting open houses. Right now, more than ever, the best leads that are coming through that I'm finding are open house leads, because these are most people that are ready to buy. And fortunately, they're in price points where people got to sell a home before they can buy. So I'm helping them list their home and sell, and hosting a kind of a big production, if you will, open house. I mean, for me, my opinion is if I'm not getting 50 or more people coming into my open house over a weekend, I'm not doing it right. And so that's basically leveraging that. By leveraging the listing, I'm attracting more buyers, which is also attracting more listings.
Way to go, Todd. By the way, if you're not inviting the neighbors to attend your open house, or even taking it to the next level, which would be a neighbors only open house, maybe the day before it goes live on the market, then again, you're doing it wrong. The goal is to leapfrog from one listing to take your next, right? Junkie Patel, welcome to our webinar as a panelist. I knew you were going to be a little bit late today. You're a special guest here today. By the way, Junkie, take a moment, just introduce yourself real quick.
So thank you for inviting me here, Coach Shon. I am Janki Patel. I am in Fremont, California, Northern California. Hello, Randy. How are you, buddy?
Hey, Janki, how are you?
Hey, everybody. Good, thank you. So sorry I was late. I was on another, hosting another webinar, so I apologize, but I'm here. But yes, I am in Fremont, California, Bay Area, Northern California, and of course, been Shon Kokoszka. I hate to call him Shon Kokoszka because he's my coach. So I always call him Coach Shon. Coach Shon has been my coach for over, gosh, I don't even know, 10 years now, Coach?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah.
Quite a while, Junkie.
Yes, it has.
Junkie is so humble, by the way. When I asked her to introduce herself, what does she do? She introduces me. So Junkie, thanks for the humility. Yet I will tell you, Junkie and her team, crushing it, you guys. Several $100,000 commission months in a row, killing it. Way to go, Junkie. Thanks for being here today. So we're talking through the ETA methodology, and we're talking about your targets, your actions. And by the way, there's a point to this, and it has everything to do with team development. Now, target number 3 will be about leverage, okay? So it's models, systems, technology, and people. So action number 1 might be engage in the Chime platform. Start investing some money in seller lead generation. They also do buyer lead generation. See, one thing I learned from a guy named Grant Wise. In fact, we just did a webinar with Grant 2 weeks ago today. You can reach out to us, request the replay link of this because it was powerful. One of the biggest takeaways I had was when doing online marketing, you've got to give people what they want, not what they need. See, they need all kinds of things, don't they? They need a stager. They probably need a painter to come in and do touch-up paint or paint that bright orange wall that they thought was a good idea in their dining room, right? Replace the carpet, repair the roof. They need all kinds of things. They need a great realtor. They need a great mortgage loan originator in a lot of cases, right? You can't give them what they need. They're not interested in that. You got to give them what they want. And through the Chime platform for buyer lead generation, through the IDX, they're able to do live MLS searches to get what they want. Isn't that right, Randy?
Yeah, you're 100% right. So, and that's going to be set up for them. Very little to do.
Very little to do. They're going to get full access to the MLS. Yet they're going to pay for that information that they receive, not with money, with their identity. Of course, that contact information automatically integrated into the Chime platform, and a whole series of automation, including AI, happens on the back end to work for you in the backdrop. Critically important. So action number one might be engage in Chime, right? Action number two might be something like slide broadcast, where you can do ringless voicemail drops, and you can do 1,000 voicemail drops in a circle prospecting kind of a mentality for $40. I mean, think about that compared to direct mail. You might want to hire a showing partner, a transaction coordinator, or an executive assistant. And yet we're going to get into that methodology quickly. But the bottom line is, go ahead, Junkie.
Which I do want to say something about Chime, because I have to say I've only been with Chime not a few months. I don't even know, maybe almost a year now, right, Randy? I don't remember again. But
time flies in this business.
Yeah, but we have grown our database, coach, from I think it was 2,000 to almost 5,500 now, almost 6,000 and up. And it is all with, really focused and diving in on our Chime platform. So I have to give a shout out to them as well, because they're amazing at what they do. The whole system is so awesome.
Awesome, Junkie. Thank you so much. So guys, we're leading to a couple of points here, okay? So tune in right now, pay attention, because the ETA, and by the way, if you've already built a team, now you remember the by who and by when columns there in the right margin. Here's where the who and when really comes in. If you've built a team, or you're focused on building a team, again, I want to close 100 transactions and to close 60 units. This would be like the overarching organizational ETA. See, because if you have many team members that are all building ETAs, it might create some siloing. It might create a total disconnect from what the organizational vision is. What we want to do is make sure that we create massive alignment within your team and your team members. So the goal for the team is to close 100 transactions. So target number one, close 60 listings. We've assigned that to Bill in this case, right? He's got to do that by the end of the year. Close 40 buyers. We assign that to Jane. She's a talented buyer agent on the team. Let's go ahead and give her that task. And then the team, the tools, the models, systems, technology, the people, we're going to leverage through John, who's our operations manager, right? And he's going to help us flesh all that stuff out. Then we're going to assign some actions to them. And I'll just go through this quickly, because what I put in here really doesn't much matter. I built tens of thousands of ETAs, and yet not one has been exactly like the other. So you can see that we've assigned various tasks to Bill, to Jane, to John, right? So this is the overarching ETA. Let's go ahead and set that aside for a moment. And let's go to Bill. Bill's the department head over the listing division. Bill's target is to close 60 listings, right? So I'm going to go ahead and assign target number one to Bill. And as I do that, the target becomes Bill's expectation. The 3 actions that I've assigned to Bill become his 3 target positions. So that's kind of a top-down approach, yet it becomes bottom-up, and you meet in the middle, because Bill is going to outline the actions that he's going to take to get 75 listing appointments. This might be contact 5 for sale by owners a day, contact 5 old expireds per day, 10 conversations around a just listed or just sold, circle prospecting, right? Whatever those actions are, these are the tactics, the strategies that Bill believes will get him to 75 appointments and ultimately 60 closed listings. Next, lead follow-up. What's he going to do to nurture those seller prospects that aren't ready to list right now? What are the actions he's going to take to make sure that if they're in this dreaming phase, and by the way, thanks to the digital marketing revolution, thanks to Realtor.com, Zillow, your personal websites, Chime, and some of the other online platforms, buyer and seller prospects, they have the ability now to self-identify way early in the pipeline, right? I mean, they're not planning on doing anything for 2 years, yet they filled out some web form, right? So now they're in this dreaming phase. They've self-identified. This is where Chime comes in to nurture them until they get to the buying or listing phase, right? And here's a key takeaway for you. If you ignore them when they're in the dreaming phase, they're going to ignore you when they get to the buying or listing phase. Okay, so the lead follow-up plan and the actions associated with that, critically important. And then of course, Bill's going to tell us the tools, model, systems, technology, everything he needs to accomplish his targets as well as his expectation. Now, we're going to do the same thing for Jane, the same thing for John. In this case, you'd end up with 4 rock-solid business plans that are in total alignment with one another. So not only have we done that, we've also helped identify what your future organizational chart needs to look like. So in the case of a hierarchy org chart, that top circle generally says CEO, founder, chairman of the board, president, something like that, right? Rather, let's take the E, or the expectation, from your ETA Let's make that the top circle. And by the way, that's you, team leaders. That's you on your organizational chart. Your 3 key direct reports will be target number 1. That would be Bill, your lead listing specialist. Target 2 is Jane, your lead buyer specialist. Target 3 is your operations manager, John. Now hear me on this. The best part about their job is that it's their job.
Yeah.
You can't take it back from them, right? One of the key takeaways I got from Mark Spain, who I've worked with for years, 7,500 closed units last year alone, he and his team, right? Is that when you identify the right talent, you must lean into that talent. You cannot strap on the shining armor, jump on that white stallion and ride in and save them. You just can't. They've got to succeed or fail on their own merit. So as a direct result, they're going to go out and identify the right talent to do those actions at the highest level possible to ensure that they're accomplishing their target positions. Now, what are your key takeaways, gang, from the panel? What are you hearing here?
Leverage people.
Leverage people.
Leverage systems, tools, and technology.
Absolutely, Junkie. What other key takeaways?
It's a model. I mean, right there's the model to do it. And it's one that's been, successfully executed in the past.
Fantastic, you guys. All right, so definition of this word, what is it? I mean, according to the world, according to your first name, how do you define this word?
Hitting whatever you want, Sean.
Way to go, Todd.
Failure is not an option. You got to keep going.
Failure is not an option. Got to keep going. Now, by the way, if you had the time and you took the time, right, Todd, to ask, what is your definition of this word success to 1,000 different people, you might come up with 1,000 different responses, right?
Most definitely.
So to me, it's really hard to get your arms around what it means to be a success. How do I know if I'm a success? Well, I went to Webster's Dictionary, guys. I just looked up the word. And as Todd said, the definition is really simple. It's getting what you want. Not what I think you should want, or Sean Policino thinks you should want, or John Key Patel thinks what you should want, right? It's about getting what you want at the end of the day. So I'm going to share the iconic organizational structure with you. And some of your minds just said, no way, right? And that's okay, because I'm going to take you through the evolution of how to build an organizational chart like this, where you step into the they do it phase, where you're completely out of production and making plenty of money at the process, that you can stop anywhere in this evolution. You can stop after the first step. And as long as you're getting what you want, then you're a success in my eyes. You guys with me on this? See, I don't care if you want to close 10 transactions a year, 50 transactions a year, 5,000 transactions a year, like one of my clients, Chris Waters, here locally in Austin. I don't care what you want to close. As long as you're getting what you want, you're a success in my eyes. So don't feel bad if you don't want to build a large team like that, okay? Bottom line is, though, the first key hire to any smart business owner in real estate, or somebody who's trying to build a business, is to leverage off the 80% work so they can give more of their time, their energy, to the 20% effort. So I'm referencing Pareto's principle here, obviously, the 80-20 rule, right? Pareto, an Italian economist, he's studying the economics of Italy, and he looks at wealth distribution, and 80% of the wealth was controlled by just 20% of the population. Then he looked at real estate. 80% of the land was owned by just 20% of the population. Guys, if you look around, if you pay attention, the 80-20 rule is as true to me as the law of gravity, right? See, 20% of your efforts in real estate sales will yield a minimum of 80% of your results. So let's go to the panelists. What are some of those 20% actions? There's just 5 things.
Sean, I'll just say that it took me 7 years to hire my first transaction coordinator. So, and that was huge. And I've never really touched a contract in the same way since.
Love it, Sean. So some of us say it just takes a while, right? Others get it right away. Yet the sooner you get this, guys, the faster you'll be able to go to that next level of production, the next level of production. See, I think one of the greatest challenges is something that I refer to as the what, how, and who paradox. Meaning the combination of what you do, how you do it, and who you do it with. Sure, that's going to get you to your current level of success. Yet the challenge is it doesn't automatically kind of transform into this better combination somehow of the what you do, how you do it, and who you do it with. That's going to get you that next level of success, right? So again, we're talking about leverage at this point. So, and the 20% effort, since I brought it up, I'll just give you the 5 things that are on the 20% job description list, okay? It's really simple. See, in real estate, you don't have to be a master of all things, just a handful of things, and you'll be very successful. So the first thing is practice. Practice to improve your knowledge, your skills, knowing what to say, knowing how to say it. Then, of course, you have to say it to enough people. So the next two things on this list of 5 is lead generation, lead follow-up. Simply put, guys, if you want more appointments, and I know you all do, don't you?
Yes.
Of course you do. That means you just need to create more conversations. Even a salesperson without a ton of skill, if they talk to enough people, they're going to set more appointments. You understand? So the natural byproduct of doing the first 3 things right, remember, it's practice, lead generation, lead follow-up, is more appointments, more contracts to negotiate. Those are the only 5 activities that are going to move the needle for you, your net income, your bank account balance, and your net worth. And it's those that have figured out how to give an inordinate amount of their time to those 5 things that really double, triple, quadruple their production in real estate sales in the process. So the first key hire should be a transaction coordinator. Now, how many of you started by outsourcing transaction coordination? I'm curious, to a vendor partner who did that for you? Shon Kokoszka, no, you did. So tell me about that model. How did that work?
I just actually hired the transaction coordinator, and then I took the cost of that transaction coordinator and I started charging my buyers and sellers for it.
Okay, so what was that cost?
$375 when I started out.
Yeah, so most transaction coordination services are between $300 and $500 per transaction, depending on the level of service that they offer to their clients, right? Now, the best part about this type of model, guys, is that it's a contingent fee, meaning if you don't close the deal, they don't charge you a cent, right?
I took it one step further. Yeah, I took it one step further, and I actually, after I started adding team members, I went to the negotiated with the transaction coordinator and said, if I pay you $100 more on each transaction, which I then added that $100 to my contracts, which really didn't cost me anything, I then took all of the offer writing off the table for the buyer's agent, because I just created a Google form which had all the key points of the contract, called it an offer submission form, and the buyer's agent on the fly could just go through and plug in the fields that mattered. That would go to the transaction coordinator. The transaction coordinator would then write the offer for the buyer's agent, and it took that off their plate.
Very nice. So as they're driving back to the offer's being written for them. As soon as they get to the office, they can then forward it off to the listing agent. Makes sense, and it's worth $100 per file. Now, the good thing about outsourcing transaction coordination is that they're going to take that transaction coordination off of your plate. The bad part about this is that the only thing they're going to do for you is transaction coordination, right? Meaning they're not going to help you implement a new strategy or tactic to identify more seller and buyer leads. Okay, they're not going to build a direct mail campaign for you, or an email campaign, or a social media post. They're not going to do it. So it makes sense that once you get to, say, 3 transactions per month on average, to hire that position in-house, you can start part-time at first, 4 hours a day. And at 3 transactions, they're only going to probably invest maybe an hour a day in transaction coordination. The other 3 hours per day, they could invest in helping you implement and deploy other strategies and tactics. See, the difference between extraordinary results in real estate sales and below average results, gang, it's speed of implementation. So it makes sense to hire this person in-house. They're going to help you implement and deploy these different ideas to generate more business. The next key hire is that of a showing partner / ISA. Now, this is my methodology, okay? Many of you who have attempted to build teams in the past, you say, listen, I don't like working the buyer side of the business. It's time consuming. I have to show them 50 houses. I have to write 3 offers for them before one finally gets accepted. It's time consuming. I want to leverage that off to a buyer agent. So you identify somebody who's got a real estate license, they got a good personality, they look good, you like them, right? And you say, hey, why don't you join my team as a buyer's agent? Here's maybe a couple of things you should know. Here's some leads, now go conquer the world. And sadly, the people fail miserably. See, they're not set up for success. So in my methodology, it's a showing partner at first / ISA, which stands for Inside Sales Associate. So they're going to take the Chime leads that they're getting every day. They're going to be following up with them, ideally using my 7-step formula to a lead conversion conversation. And they're going to convert leads to appointments. Now they're setting an appointment, in this case, for you. So they're going to shadow you during this initial counseling session, whether it's done on a Zoom meeting or face-to-face in your office or at a coffee shop, whatever that looks like for you. They're going to shadow you. meaning they're the fly on the wall. They're not allowed to speak unless asked to speak, okay? They're there just to learn from you. They're gonna watch you do what you do. They're gonna watch you go through that initial counseling session. Ideally, it's the 20-point buyer presentation, which sets and then manages the appropriate expectations with these buyers. And by the way, if you leverage the 20-point buyer presentation, they'll enthusiastically sign a buyer agency agreement. Then the showing partners can take them out and show them all the houses. See, they're going to take the most time-consuming part about the buying process off of your plate altogether. Now, your job is to reallocate the time that you would have otherwise spent showing houses into listing lead generation. Please hear me on that, okay? You don't just give it away and then go golfing for the afternoon. No, you've got to reallocate the time to the 20% effort. All right, so once they identify the property that this buyer wants to buy, they're going to hand them back off to you, and you're going to write and negotiate the offer. And the showing partner is going to be part and parcel to that entire process. So they're going to watch you prepare the offer. You're going to explain to them, here's what goes in this blank, here's what goes in that blank, right? They're going to watch you present it to the buyer, to the listing agent. They'll be part of the negotiations as well. And once they get 3 to 5 buyers under contract in the capacity of a showing partner, then you promote them to buyer agent. See, in this case, what you've given them gifts, you guys. Please understand, you've given them phone skills, number one. And 95% of their success in this industry is going to be based on their ability to get on the phone, to lead generate, lead follow up, to set appointments. So you're gifting them with that skill before you just kind of cut them loose, right? Second, there's 3 areas we must qualify every buyer. Number 1 is the needs of the buyer. Number 2 is the motivation. Number 3 is the financial ability. Let's go to the needs of the buyer. Does that property exist? Because they've been out showing all the houses, now they're going to know the neighborhoods, the floor plans, the average price in this neighborhood versus that neighborhood, the school districts, the lot sizes, and all of that. They'll have the market knowledge to qualify the needs of the prospect. And they'll be able to increase their proficiency around finding the right home for that buyer quickly. Then you promote them to buyer agent. By the way, let's back up one. And my input to you would be, at the capacity of a showing partner, if you set the appointment and you invite them into this initial counseling session and all they're going to do is show the houses, give them 15% of the gross commission income. If they set the original appointment for you, give them 25% of the gross commission income, because that's going to motivate them to set their own appointments. Does this make sense to you guys? We doing okay? Questions from the panel? Any questions so far? How are we doing?
We're
Well, I
doing
just want-
great. No questions. Sorry. Did I cut someone off? I always do that.
Torgerson, back to you.
Yeah, well, what I was just going to say is that from all the research that I've done, with other industries too, one of the reasons why people leave any industry or any job is there's no growth. There's no growth opportunity. And so with this model, the growth opportunity is explained to them in the very beginning, and they can see the path to progress. And so the retention is a lot higher with this model too. And that's what I found.
Fantastic, David. Thank you for underlining that. That's perfect. So once you then promote them to buyer agent, you can go as high as 50% of the gross commission income. Yet the buyer's agent at this point, they're setting their own appointments during their own initial counseling sessions, showing all the houses, writing and negotiate the contracts, right? Now, once they get that under contract, their job is to hand off the file to the transaction coordination team. I mean, in a perfect world, they would not touch that file again until it's time to go to closing, because your job as the leader is to make certain that you're applying leverage not only to your model and yourself, but to them as well. We want to make sure that we can get them to a position of momentum and keep them there. You guys with me? Doing okay? Okay, so at buyer agent, you can pay as much as 50% of the GCI. The next key hire, if you want to build a prospecting-based business enhanced by marketing, rather than a marketing-based business enhanced by prospecting, it would be an OSA. Or you might view this model and say, well, I want to build a marketing-based business. Well, that square there wouldn't say OSA, which stands for outbound sales associate. It would say something like Chime, because they're going to generate the seller leads for you. Okay. So that first OSA, you can pay them as much as 25% of the gross commission income, yet OSAs are focused on listing lead generation only. So they're calling for sale by owners, expired listings, and doing circle prospecting on your behalf. Now, as I said, if you want more appointments, all you have to do is create more conversations. What I didn't say is that you're the one who needs to create all those conversations, right? Those conversations can be created through your OSA team, your ISA team, right? So the next key hire would be a junior OSA, and we promote that original OSA. Say once they get you 10 signed listing contracts, you're going to become lead OSA, And it's your job to start building your division. So they'll be over recruiting, they'll be over training, and as a direct result, they're going to get a 10% override on anything a junior OSA brings to the table. So they get 25% of their personal production, 10% of anything that the junior OSA does, and the junior OSA gets 15% of the GCI. See, I kind of look at it like this. So you got 15% of the junior OSA, you got 10% of the lead OSA. See, I'm a licensed agent in the state of Colorado, even though I live in Austin, Texas currently, right? If I were to set a listing appointment for you, Junkie, for Saturday morning at 10 o'clock, I've already asked them the 22 pre-listing qualifying questions. And I called you up and said, Junkie, they're ready to list with you right now. Here's the answers to the 22 pre-listing qualifying questions. Will you pay me a 25% referral fee? What would you say?
Absolutely. Why not?
Right. So this is a results-driven compensation model. You're not paying salaries. You're not paying hourly, but a sum total of 25% of the GCI. What I would recommend is that upon a signed listing contract, you give them a bonus that is part of the total 25% GCI. So that bonus might be $500, might be $1,000, might be $2,500, depending on your average sales price, because what is the likelihood in today's market that that listing is going to close?
Absolutely.
100%.
Right? So your risk, depending on your risk tolerance, will really set the bonus, but a sum total of 25% goes out the door when your OSAs self-identify a listing appointment for you. Now, once this junior OSA gets, call it 5 signed listing contracts, they have an opportunity. They can either stay junior OSA or they can do a lateral move within your organization to that of a showing partner / ISA. And they're going to report directly to your buyer agent who's going to manage them. And by the way, this is a happy day because you've now leveraged off the training for your team members. See, because that buyer agent is going to do exactly what you did for them when they were a showing partner. And the compensation model remains the same. 15% to the showing partner, 35% to the buyer agent, if the buyer agent set the appointment. Now, the buyer agent, by the way, at their choice, I would recommend they don't have to leverage through the showing partner. Let's say it's one of the people from their sphere of influence. They want to work with them. They want to show them the houses. Let them pay them 50%. In that case, the showing partner / ISA gets nothing. But the smart ones are going to want to hand it off to the showing partner because, quite frankly, I would rather do 8 to 10 transactions per month as a buyer's agent than 2 or 3. I'd rather have 35% of 8 transactions than 50% of 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, by the way, give away the most time-consuming part of the buying process. And here's the funny part about that. The most time-consuming part of the buying process is actually the part of the process that requires the least amount of talent. Think about that. Anybody can show a house. My 11-year-old daughter can crush it showing houses. Much better than I could, that's for sure. So once they're then showing partner, once they get 3 to 5 properties under contract in the capacity of a showing partner, then you're going to give them an opportunity for promotion up to buyer agent. At the moment that you do that, you promote your buyer agent to lead buyer agent. Now, at this point, as lead buyer agent, their job is to recruit, train, and retain the agents. And they're going to get an override of everything that the buyer agent team does beneath them. So in this case, it would be 15% to the showing partner, 35% to the buyer agent, 10% to the lead buyer agent, and you're going to retain 40% of the GCI. Yet the good news is you've just delegated all of the buy side of your business to somebody else. And you've got a team of OSAs, or you got a Chime who's bringing in seller leads for you on a consistent and repetitive basis. Now you can see on the operational side, we've now gone and promoted our transaction manager to operations manager. We backfilled the role. And now since you're generating so many listings, you're going to need a listings manager. It's time to divide the roles, okay? And of course, we get another junior OSA who then could shift to floating showing partner, and they're going to support 2 buyers agents at this point. And the lead OSA is focused on scaling out the OSA division. The lead buyer agent is focused on scaling out the buyer agent division. How are we doing, guys?
It looks like a lot of work.
Well, actually, who are you managing though? Seriously, Sean,
Yeah.
who are you managing?
Only your director of operations is who you are managing, because your director of operations should be the one managing the staff, and the rest of the team should be the lead buyer's agent or the lead, OSA or the operations manager. That's what we have here.
Span of
It's
control.
not me managing anyone. I'm not in control. I don't
Yeah.
manage anyone,
Yeah, when I worked with Gary Keller, he said you need 3 in the box, meaning you need 3 direct reports. And by building it with this methodology in mind, you guys, what you're doing is you're eliminating all the issues associated with span of control. Now, span of control is a military term, meaning the number of people that can effectively report to you that you can effectively manage. And the military will tell you it's 3 to 5 people. Anything beyond that, then you don't have a life anymore. Reminds me of one of my clients up in Dallas. Her name's Kelly. And I met her at a business planning clinic that I was putting on in January of 2017. Now, this title company did a great job, pulled in 55 top producing agents into a conference room or a presentation room for a 4-hour workshop on business planning, organizational structure, and compensation models. And Kelly walks in 15 minutes before we start. She gives me this knuckle breaking kind of a handshake. She's a really determined woman, right? And she says, Shon, I can't be here for 4 hours. Just quickly give me the Cliff Notes. And I said, well, that's nice, Kelly. I got to know Kelly a little bit, okay? Turns out in the previous year, she'd closed out at 172 million in production. She had 16 people on her team. She had won award after award. Everybody knew who she was, by the way. And yet I also learned that she was completely and totally miserable. See, she had an 8-year-old son that she missed all of his soccer practices, most of his games. She was investing 75 to 80 hours per week into her business. She hadn't taken a vacation for 3 years. So I said, Kelly, cancel whatever you got going on. Seriously, this is going to be worth your time. Sit down. She not only sat down, she stayed for the full 4 hours. She engaged me as her coach one-on-one. And over the course of 4 months, we got her from 16 direct reports down to 4. Okay, still 1 more than I wanted her to have, but down to 4. She took 3 week-long vacations that year. And in 2017, remember 2016, 172 million. In 2017, 240 plus million in total sales volume. By the way, working 45 to 50 hours per week. Guys, it's about working smarter. It's about identifying the right talent and lean into the talent. As Shon said, this looks complicated. I don't want to manage that many people. You're only managing 3. Remember, the best part about their job is that it's their job. Yes?
Yeah. And how many in your team, Shon?
Pardon?
How many in your team now?
Oh, my team is, my real estate sales team is just under 1,000 agents right now. Because it's a different type of team, you understand. It's a revenue share team with EXP, where I don't have to manage the agents, provide them with leads. I don't have to do any of that stuff. I don't have to deal with any contract questions, compliance issues. By the way, my capital of investment is 0, and I get a percentage of whatever they close thanks to EXP. And guys, if you're not taking this EXP model seriously, you need to investigate it. In fact, if you want to investigate it, we've set up a platform that will enable you to do that at your leisure. Okay. All you have to do is go to meetwithicons.com. Go to meetwithicons.com, and you can engage in a free, just non-committal investigation into the EXP model. We give you 7 different opportunities every single week to jump into a 1-hour Zoom meeting. It's actually 45 minutes, a Zoom meeting, to learn about the 8 different ways that we compensate agents here at EXP. And guys, I would strongly encourage you to check it out.
And I'm happy because it didn't take me 7 years this time to follow you. It only took me 18 months.
That's right. John, we talked about
That's
the
a
model.
significant improvement.
It took you a few months, but you did get, you got it, right? See, I think the
I'm
only
building 2. Yeah, exactly. I'm building 2 teams. I'm building my transactional team for transactional real estate, and I'm building my revenue share team. And that's those are 2 of 8 ways to make money with EXP.
I love it, Shon. Way to go, man. So all you have to do is go to meetwithicons.com, and that's plural. And you'll see the 7 different options that we give you to investigate the EXP model. And by the way, non-committal, totally confidential. Check it out. You'll thank us that you did. See, I think there's only 2 reasons people aren't with EXP. Number 1, they met with somebody who tried to explain the model, didn't do a good job. Or number 2, they just don't understand how mathematics work. Okay, seriously. EXP and revenue share team building is a different type of team, but it is the most profitable team that I've ever built. I've been with EXP for 22 months, and guys are paying me tens of thousands of dollars every single month. And I have no capital risk. I have no liability associated with running the brokerage. It is true wake up money. And I know each and every one of you are also doing the same exact thing. You're building revenue share groups at EXP because it is the biggest and best opportunity in front of us today. And you're doing that because you want to improve your freedom and your income at exactly the same time. So meetwithicons.com, guys. Make it happen. Seriously, just investigate the model. You'll thank us for doing that. Okay, seriously, just check it out. And otherwise, feel free to go to iconcoaching.com for free resources on how to build your team. Sadly, we're running short on time, but with a few more clicks, you'd see how you would eventually get a listing specialist on board. This is when you can step out of production and you're just scaling out the buyer agency and OSA teams. And before you know it, you've mastered the iconic organizational chart. So we are 1 minute over on time. Any last thoughts, words of wisdom? Because I got another webinar to jump to myself.
Well, I just wanted to say with the revenue share and building the team the way that you're showing it right now is you actually are doubling your money.
Isn't that the truth, David? Way to go. I'm glad you underlined that, buddy. Any other thoughts?
Yeah.
By the way, Randy was nice enough to put in a free demo link for the Chime platform. So if you want to learn how they help you generate seller leads, buyer leads, seriously, click on that free demo. Just check out the platform. And you'll see how just magically, every time you open your email inbox or you open up Chime, you're going to see a whole bunch of new leads there for you to follow up and convert. And of course, they're going to help you do the same. Any other thoughts?
I'm good.
All right. Hey, great webinar, you guys, today. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to send out the replay link. So look forward to that, guys. Talk to y'all soon. Bye-bye for now.
See ya.
I'll take it easy.